get a clear setting on exactly your points per se, because I mean I don't disagree with like some, but some of it has been like here's touch and go.
Name one, ask a question.
Um, let's see. Children shouldn't be raised religious.
Great. What contentions do you have with the arguments I provided for this?
I haven't heard most of it, but per
Which
se,
which topics have you had issues with my arguments with? We don't have to switch topics, but I'm just wondering
okay,
because you said you had issues
okay.
with my logic.
No, I didn't say I had necessarily issues. It's just a touch and go situation. So like I'm not clearly understanding.
Okay. All right. So what? Do you have a
So I
position about children not being raised religious, or is it just kind of well, parental rights? They should be able to do what they want.
okay, I'd say somewhat parental rights. Can I give you like my point of view on the whole?
Sure, of course.
So, all right. So my point of view is exactly how single parent father raised me the same way, and I plan to raise the same way. Is he let me know what he believed in, and he did not make that a singular choice for me. He said, it's whatever you want to do. I'm going to take you to a couple things. Whatever you want to do, you go ahead and do. I'm going to
What do you mean by
support
a
you
couple
on.
things? Are you talking about different beliefs that have events that you can go
Yes,
to,
yes,
or like
yes.
you go to like a mosque or something? Like, sure,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm fine with
I've
that. That's
studied.
very minimal. That's
Yes,
very minimal harm in my eyes. I just think that it should be at a little later age, but I think that's completely fine. I don't see like an issue with that really.
yes, because I was raised mainly Baptist from father. He was single, so I
How were you
stayed with my
raised Baptist?
grandmother.
Wait. If you had complete control of your religious beliefs, how were you raised Baptist? What
I
specifically was about
mainly,
your?
okay, I mainly stayed with grandmother because single parent, so he did not have full control of me
Are you talking about family
most
structure? Oh, so you're saying before.
before I'd say puberty wise.
So you had that freedom expressed to you at puberty.
Well, not necessarily at pure. He gave me that, but what my grandmother took me to was mainly Baptist.
Okay. I would say that's still heavily influential. But if you're talking about just like, sorry, did you say father? Grandfather?
Yes, yeah, father,
Father.
father.
Okay. Your father's like mindset around the topic, I think, is very productive and promotes free thinking and religious autonomy for the individual to express the beliefs they want to express rather than what's instilled into them. So I think that like corrects a lot of the harm done from religious upbringing and also promotes good values. So I think that's great. I think that the harm is always going to be there to an extent, but is extremely
Yeah,
minimized by the expression like, oh, this is a free space. You can believe what you want. You shouldn't have to feel pressured. Because like a lot of people like mock free spaces, but that's what like counselors at school are supposed to be. You're supposed to actually feel free to talk about stuff in confidentiality without pressure or fear that you're going to be punished for expressing different beliefs or like different ideals,
okay. I got you. I got you.
which is heavily evident in religious upbringing that you're
I
going to
got
possibly socially or sometimes physically or like mentally punished for expressing beliefs that are different than the religion.
you. Yeah. Oh, most definitely. I've ventured through a couple different ones. Baptist was first. I went to read the uh, fuck, what was it called? I went
Do
into
you disagree
Islam.
then?
Well, it's not necessarily I disagree. I just question, as in like per se, what you're like decision wise, because I mean, everyone can have like raise a child in a certain way, but it's not necessarily going to raise a basis deciding on the person wise. Because I've had many friends, Christian wise, Baptist wise, Muslim wise, they just don't care in the end. So
Pennywise.
yeah, yes. I mean, and yeah, it doesn't matter really necessarily what you're raised on. It just, in the end, you're going to do what you want to do.
No. Most people do not critically think about religious faith. I hate to break it to you, that's why 85% of American Christians were raised that way. We know there's extreme influence in religious upbringing. So you can say, like, well, everybody's going to do what they want to do. Well, they're told what they want to do, they're told what they should live their life according to. That's what religious upbringing is.
Okay, so are we talking like present time? Because I'm
Present
personally
time, yes. There's
okay,
heavy
present time.
social there's heavy social and familial pressure to conform to a belief system of your parents and peers. That's why you're brought to communities to where they all believe the same thing. You're brought to an institution where they all believe in the same faith. You're brought to sometimes prayer groups or camps where they are heavily pressuring you to engage in the faith as much as possible and affirm it around peers where there's extreme social pressure. Like I quote unquote, because it wasn't real, gave my life to Christ at summer camp because they told everybody to close their eyes, played emotional music, and said, if you want to do this, this is like your moment. And then I was the only one who did it because our eyes were closed. And then I got a standing ovation at dinner. I'm sorry, manipulation central. Like, not to use personal anecdotes, but like, you understand that there's heavy social pressure in religious communities to conform to faith.
Okay, I mean, I could say that is a pressure moment for some people.
No, I
But
think it's the upbringing.
mo
I think if you're being honest about it, a lot of children that are raised in the faith feel like if they convert as a child, they will either be punished or excluded from family events, or like there would be a detachment from your parents when it comes to faith. I felt that fear. I felt that anxiety that if I was like publicly atheist when I was younger, that I was like my parents were gonna like feel awkward around me or it was gonna be different. Like I'm telling you, that is a real thought in children's head as they're growing up, being pressured to follow a faith. That is
okay.
100% a reality.
Okay. Well, can I ask on like a personal level, are you now excluded from certain
Yeah,
things or
I would say a lot of the reasons that's why I'm excluded. I think I'm predisposed for critical thinking because I'm very um loud and opinionated. I'm not gonna lie, very loud and opinionated. So I think that predisposed me to critical thinking on this topic. And also, I'm gay, and obviously the church has certain views about gay people depending on your interpretation of it, and that was kind of an out as well to not really buy into everything based on like the public perspective of certain groups from within the community and how they were treated. So obviously, like regardless of your beliefs, there is a culture around religion to where you can fit into that culture as much or not as much. And I really didn't fit into the culture of it.
okay, yeah, I definitely understand the whole like fitting in with the culture wise, because exactly how my father raised me is like my looks wise did not necessarily fit in with the church wise of long hair, hippie-ish looking. They did not accept me on like a ground basis. But I'm still going. It's still my thing. I'm not bashing anybody for it's not their thing because that's how
Wasn't
I
Jesus a
was.
long haired hippie?
I mean, that's what I'm. That's what I say half the fucking time. But no one wants to hear me. So it's whatever. That's why I never really bash anybody for believing something different or raising their children on a different type of scale, as long as it's not a bias based, as in this is something you drill into your child's head that
But that's just
that
saying, oh, well, as long as it's manipulation or indoctrination in moderation, then it's okay. That's literally the argument. As long as you're not like being super, super controlling about trying to make your kid believe in this religion, then it's like, okay. But you're just saying okay as in it's a moderate amount of influence or it's a moderate amount of control over your child's belief system. I'm saying you should minimize that, not just have a moderate amount of it. Like, it's so weird that people think that that's going to meet like some quota of, oh, well, they can free think because I only moderately told them that they should follow the faith or they might go to hell. Like, it's like, well, I said it in a nice way. It's like,
yeah,
that
yeah,
seems
yeah, yeah.
crazy to me.
So what do you mean by like as in a moderate way? So like if I was explaining to my child right now,
That's
like,
your argument.
hey,
Your argument
um,
is, well, that's the argument you just presented. You said in a moderate way, or like, you're saying I'm not doing it like, oh, some of these parents are so controlling, but like if you're just like okay about it, if you're like really nice about it, then it should be fine. I'm saying that is the average religious upbringing, is most people are nice about it, but it's still extremely influential and pressuring and well, not I don't know if I want to be comfortable enough saying most are nice about it, but like a lot of people are nice about religious upbringing to where it's like, oh, you go to nice communities, you have peers, you have community. It's like it's fun events. You have certain like practices that bring you comfort or joy. You sing songs. Like there's positive things attached to it. So I feel like your argument is like, oh well, as long as it's just like in a nice way, then it should be fine. And my argument is whether it's in a nice way or in like a really mean way, it's not okay to enforce a belief system from childhood. I think it's extremely pressuring and you shouldn't be subject to it if you value critical thinking and free thinking around religiosity. Otherwise, you don't, and you shouldn't try to justify that you're not brainwashing your kid if you think it's justified to brainwash your kid. I think that's my stance.
Okay, okay. I get that. I understand you on
Oops, sorry, Bode is back on his backup. He didn't like being muted because he was just rage baiting in comments about me running. Like, no, I don't want to waste my time with that.
that. Hey, you do you.
I mean, he was just rage baiting the whole time. It's all right.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's whatever.
What do you think his specific intention with my argument was? Right. Sorry. Can anybody
With
name it specifically? Where he said, "Oh, you're selling a worldview, so like other religious people are just selling a worldview, so you shouldn't see a difference." Muting people talking about Jesus? What do you mean talking about Jesus? You could talk about Jesus in a preaching way, which wouldn't be the topic. You could talk about Jesus in a demonizing way, which wouldn't be the topic. You could talk about Jesus in a interpretation of the Bible way, which wouldn't be the topic. Like, what do you mean? Just talking about Jesus in general? Like,
mm, mm.
Rudy, you're going to be next. We're here to discuss and debate, not cater to your feelings about people being silent when they're rage baiting. Aw.
Can I ask you with the LGBTQ education wise,
Did you have a response real quick?
a response to what?
Sorry, my argument that your last claim specifically was about, well, as long as you do it in a nice way, it should be fine. And I'm saying that's still heavy manipulation and heavy influence towards a belief system.
Well, I wouldn't say it's necessarily heavy manipulation as in sense of exactly how you decide to go about it. Like my
That's just saying
with
a nice way.
well, okay, nice way. I mean, my parent from what I was raised, because I've explored different religions and I've been supported through the whole nine yards.
But that what you're promoting right now isn't your dad's like
That no
framework.
no
It's your
that's
grandma's. That's
no
what you're
okay.
promoting by saying as long as you do it in a nice way. It's still bringing them to church. It's still influence. It's still extreme influence. That's the average religious upbringing of people who are doing it in a nice way or like in a moderate way. It's
I
still bringing them
wouldn't.
to church, still praying, still like holding hands at dinner to affirm that you all believe in
I've
God. Like that's still it. Unless you're saying, no, I'm only promoting an extremely rare case that is not publicly followed by most people to where you express free belief and introduce your children into multiple faiths as in they can study different religions at young ages and pursue beliefs in a way that is not publicly practiced at like pretty much at all.
I'm not being confrontive or I'm not trying to be argumentative on a like a bad level. But I don't think you heard me the right way.
Okay, what did I get wrong?
As in like what I was definitely raised on. Because yes, grandmother had me at certain times.
Wait, we're not arguing what you were raised on. We're arguing your argument because your argument specifically was about like, oh, well, some people would go really hard on it, but as long as you're like really moderate about it, it's like it's okay. That's how I read your argument.
Oh no 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 no, no, no.
If I
I said I
misquoted you there,
was
then further clarify. Feel free.
for what I remember saying. You might have certain things on me. I'm not going to argue with that. It's from what I remember saying is my father raised me a certain way. My grandmother had me on certain days.
That
It's
was like
not that
half.
she raised
I'm
me
sorry, but
that way.
that was like a half an hour ago. We're not talking about what you said half an hour ago when you were explaining your upbringing. We're talking about the argument provided that you made.
Well, that's where you ran back on.
Ran back on with what specifically?
That's exactly what I said about a half an hour ago, and that's what you brought up.
Wait, no, but I was responding specifically to the argument you're providing about, like, oh, well, some people go really hard on religion, but as long as you're like moderate about it, it's okay. Are you just referencing your specific upbringing, which was not moderate, which was not the average, which was not just doing it the nice way? It was specifically combating religious manipulation by expressing free choice at younger ages, which 99% of religious people do not do. Is that what you were
Oh,
saying?
mm, no, honey, no, that was not what I was saying. No, because
I'm sorry, but that was multiple choice. Which one were you saying?
what
The
do you
one
mean?
where you're saying just do it in a nice way, or the one where you're saying, well, the only thing I'm promoting is my specific upbringing where there was maximized religious autonomy.
Well, it definitely, that's what I'm saying, as in the parenting wise, is it definitely depends on the parent. It is not most. You can't
How does
say
your
it's
moral how
most.
does okay, I'm sorry, but how does your moral claim about indoctrination depend on the parent?
What do you mean?
I'm asking you to provide a moral claim about indoctrination and what your stance is on this topic. I'm not
Okay.
asking you what people are likely to do, which is what you're saying by depends on the parent, which is, well, some people are going to be more strict. Some people are going to be more devout. Some people are going to be more respectful in these things, and you should be nice about it. I feel like that's what you're saying. If I'm wrong, correct me, but you're being very vague. You're not saying specific arguments. I'm asking you for a specific stance about this argument, which is what are you promoting and what is acceptable to you? Because what it sounded like you were saying is, well, I'm promoting this free thinking that my dad raised me in, but it's acceptable if they're still bringing them to church and raising them in the faith, as long as they're doing it in a nice way and not pushing it too much, which is still undefined.
I'm never saying that it's acceptable. I'm saying that's how I was raised.
What are you saying with your moral claim?
Well, okay, moral claim it is how to raise your children, how they are raised. Do not set them on a certain bias. Do not set them on a certain path. It is up to them, most definitely.
So don't bring them to church. Don't pray with them.
No,
Maximize religious autonomy by allowing them to pursue belief on their own and providing resources to multiple faiths so they can pursue what they want. Is that what you're
yeah,
arguing? Because I'm sorry, if you're not saying it, I'm going to fill the gaps because you're not
no, no,
saying
no,
a
no, no,
lot.
no, 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 no. I understand filling the gaps. I understand filling the gaps. I just got a little bite, so sometimes something might jump out to me.
Well, chomp, bitch. Chomp.
All right, hold. Okay, don't be disrespectful now.
I'm joking. I just
No,
want you to say
okay,
more substantive things. Like you're saying very
okay.
vague niceties. You're saying platitudes. You're saying like, well, we should do this.
Well, that's how we should
I
be.
guarantee no, but the thing is, everything that falls under that spectrum of exactly what you said could be said from a Christian who raises their kid in the church to practice the Bible and to believe in the faith 100%, or an atheist. I'm sorry, there's such a wide spectrum that fits under your vague language that it's not a firm position. You're saying we should
No,
maximize freedom. They're going to say, well, actually, I'm not pressuring them towards my faith because they can still believe something else when they're older. That's what they say every time when you push them on this. Every time you push
okay,
them on whether they're influencing their children's faith, they're saying, well, no, I'm not forcing them to go to church. They like going to church. I'm not forcing them to sing. They like singing. I'm not forcing them to go to these youth groups. They like it. There's games, there's snacks. It's fun. That's what they say every fucking time you try to contest this indoctrination. And what you're saying they could literally say the same fucking thing.
okay, but okay, that's that. All right, all right. I understand you on that point because they do say a lot of the same thing. I have heard multiple families, multiple friends say the exact same thing. That definitely is like a brainwashed, biased type of saying or like ideal talk. But it definitely does depend on base on like depending on family wise where you were raised.
What depends
The,
on family? The
uh,
methodology or the
uh,
morality?
you could say both. You definitely could say both.
How does your
You
moral claim change depending on the parent? specifically.
Moral claim because you're raised. I mean, definitely you're always going to have some type of bias, regardless of where
Great, I'm
or when.
atheist. I wouldn't change my child. I wouldn't raise my child atheist. I would limit the amount of influence of atheism on them by promoting other religions that they can pursue or not pursue if they want, and say, oh well, a
And
bunch of people believe in these ones. You should. They have evidence that they say that they have for them. You should feel free to pursue it if you'd like. I don't want to sway you away from them. Feel free to believe what you
exact,
want. I love you regardless. That is something that would be
exactly.
promoting it. So no, you can, like, of course, there's always going to be some level of influence. Do they have an obligation to restrict that amount of influence in the way that I'm arguing, you're arguing? Because it doesn't seem like you're creating a lot of clear
I'm
guidelines on
not
how they
okay.
should be doing that. And if it depends on the parents, you're not really creating a guideline. You're saying the guideline change depends on, like, the guideline changes every parent you look at, in which I would need to know, why does it change on every parent you look at? Why does your morals about how
Okay,
much indoctrination is acceptable change on the parent? You know
okay,
why I'm
okay.
confused on that?
Yeah, I get you, girl. I get you, girl. So,
Okay.
so, so you should definitely introduce something, regardless of whatever it is, whatever you believe in. You should introduce, not necessarily like
I don't feel like that.
drill,
I don't feel like that responds to what
because
I said. What amount of
what do
indoctrination
you,
is acceptable under your framework?
that's necessarily indoctrination because you should introduce something. It doesn't have to be what you believe in, but you should
With
introduce
spirituality. With
something.
spirituality.
Yes, in
Why?
general, you should introduce something.
No, not in general. In spirituality, with spiritual claims, you should not introduce anything. That's my stance. My stance is you
What?
should not
How are they supposed
propose.
to learn at a young age?
You can teach them about possibilities without proposing a reality. That's the point. You can teach,
Possibility
well,
is
this group
vague as
believes this.
fuck.
No, you're being vague. I'm being
No,
very
that is vague
specific.
as fuck. Don't
Do you want me
try
to
and
explain
don't.
why it's not vague?
Possibility. You said possibility. That is the most
That's not
vaguest answer
vague.
I've ever
No,
heard.
that's not vague. Listen, if you're teaching this group believes this group believes this group believes this, what is vague about that? You're learning the reality that people have beliefs. And you can choose to believe what you believe based on evidence or personal conviction, which is up to the individual. What is vague is saying, well, depending on the parent, they can have varying levels of it, like control over their children's beliefs, depending on how they believe it, or like
I
depending on
never
their
said
you
control.
didn't
I
say
said
anything. You didn't say
introduce.
anything. You didn't
I
say
said
anything. You said
introduce.
you said it
Introduce.
changes. You said it changes, but you didn't say how. You said the something about the methodology and the morality changes without saying how for either. You didn't provide any substantiation as to what changes
Oh,
or
okay, okay,
how
okay,
with
okay.
your framework,
Let's calm
which
down.
I've
Let's calm
asked
down.
for ad
Let's calm down.
nauseum. I'm
Let's calm down.
frustrated
I'm
at
not
your
getting angry with you. Let's not get angry with
because
me.
I'm not being ambiguous. You are. So I'm the one with the
And
justification for my
okay, let's
frustration.
calm down. Let's calm down.
No.
Please, let's calm down.
No.
Yes, yes, because this is
Just like
not
I have
a good
religious
example.
autonomy, just like I have
This
religious
is not a good
autonomy,
example.
I'm gonna keep talking. Just as I have religious autonomy, I have crash out autonomy. You can't tell me when to crash out.
Okay,
My
no, I'm not
choice.
saying to crash out, but I'm giving you same. I'm giving you like they have in the golden rule. Some people want to say is I'm giving you what I'm giving.
No spamming in chat. You're gonna get muted. Um, you're not giving me what I'm giving you because I'm giving you specifically pointed advice
No,
about
I'm
the
not.
like what you
Okay,
should promote with the
you may
upbringing,
be
and
right
you're
on an
giving me
intellectual level.
platitudes. You're giving me
I'm not giving
platitudes.
you
You're giving
attitude. No, no.
platitude. No, not attitude. Not attitude.
Okay, my
Platitudes.
bad. Latitude. Okay,
Platitudes are
what?
just saying nice things without saying anything of substance. You're saying nice things, and I'm asking you for specifics over and over, and you cannot provide them. I've asked like 17 times what you mean by your framework of religion changing from parent to parent. I haven't had an answer for that.
I've only had one parent, babe.
What does that have to do with what I just said? I said, what is
You
your
said parent to
stance?
parent.
I said, what is your moral stance on how the morals and framework around religiosity change from parent to parent? Why does it change from parent to parent? Because are you just saying different people have different opinions? Because that's a
Oh,
nothing
most
burger of
definitely,
a
because
statement.
you have definite a different
I'm
opinion
not
than I
talking
do.
about them, but you're just saying other people have moral foundations than I do. I'm asking what your moral foundations are for other parents. That's why it's a nothing burger.
You've already heard mine. What's the problem here?
What is your moral framework for other parents?
For parents, you do what you want to do.
Great, then you're not against religious indoctrination because parents can do what they want to do. They can
Exactly.
exercise them.
You've heard
They
that from
can
the
bring them
very
to
get-go.
exorcisms. They can bring them to religious conversion therapy under that framework.
You,
They can bring them to every church possible and pressure the fuck out of them under that framework because parents parent. You can raise your kid racist or bigoted as fuck or hateful as fuck or as a bully or somebody who
well,
beats people up under that framework of let's
babe,
parents
babe,
parent.
babe, babe,
It's such
babe,
a nothing burger.
babe,
It's
babe,
nothing.
babe. That's what they're gonna do. So I don't know why you're on here doing that.
We're not arguing what's realistic or what we're going to change people's minds on. I'm asking your moral argument, which is what we ought to do. My God, that's what I've been asking for like 20 minutes now. You keep telling me to
Uh,
calm down, but I'm
you know,
frustrated because you keep giving me nothing over and
you,
over again.
all right,
My
let's go ahead and
frustration is
end it short.
justified.
Let's go ahead and end it short. I hope you have a great night, a great day, wherever you're at.
Run away. Run away from the
I'm not
argument.
running away. I'm telling.
You can't answer it. You can't answer it. You can't answer it. You can't answer it. What is with this opposition? Why are they so scared to answer simple questioning? It's so simple. Why can't they answer it? Why is it so hard to answer? Y'all understand why I crash out now? What am I supposed to say to get through to people at this? Specifically, you can say I'm mad all I want. Sure, I'm mad. I'm also logical because you're not providing logic to refute me. You're not providing good, specific argumentation to refute my arguments. Call me mad all you want. You can't call me illogical. Otherwise, you have to prove it, which y'all fucking aren't. I'm not wasting my time with people who can't prove it. As long as you're respectful, I'll be respectful, Cheyenne. I can be patient. I am also going in order. I'm sure a lot of these people scroll though. You have a little bit of an echo, Ronald.
Is that better?
Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. All right, it's good. What topic do you want to discuss?
Uh, 2 and 3, as they're sort of interlinked.
I would say they are completely different because one is promoting education, in which I would have the promotion of the education for the other topic, where one is promoting indoctrination into a faith, not just education about a faith.
All right, so this is something that you may not be able to understand. Is I understand that you're gay, so you're probably not planning on having children.
I mean, not related, but I personally do not want children.
Yeah. Okay. So when it comes to raising children, generally what happens is they're raised by a family structure, and families hold in-group belief systems, and generally they tend to agree on a lot of overlapping ideas. Correct?
Typically through the methodology, yes.
Okay. Now, when it comes to religion, that's obvious, as typically people are raised with the religion that their parents prescribe to.
Majority of the time, yes.
Okay, cool. Now, what you're suggesting with the LGBTQ plus education is another form of religious belief.
No.
Yeah, it is. You have replaced religion with ideology.
No, religion isn't ideology. Religion can contain ideology. Religion is not just ideology.
Ideology is contained within religion.
What spiritual claims are being
Religion is
made by educate
religion is
what
technically a belief system.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna ask it again. What spiritual claims are included in education that gay people or trans people exist?
It's the belief system surrounding it that anybody. Well, I don't necessarily have an issue with gay people in general. I've never had an issue with them. Uh,
I
my
love it when
issue
people
is
have to preface that.
no. I mean, it's an important fact because I've
Well, I
always
just
been
need you to
pro
know that
gay
I
marriage.
like. It's like when people say like, "Well, I just need you to know that I have like black friends before we get into this race
No,
discussion."
no. It's because I used to be a Democrat, and then the rest of you went so crazy left that I couldn't go along with it. In particular, when it came to transgenderism and
Yeah,
the
I'm
refusal to
sure. Says
accept
every right-leaning
biological
person ever.
reality.
Yeah, biological realities that are different than social claims that transgender people are like a part of. when we're
Yeah, but
arguing
so
gender
are
is different than
gender and
sex.
sex
Yeah,
entirely
gender and sex,
independent from one another?
one can be based on the other, but still not be defined the same, right? So when you're saying a lot of the whole biological reality that people are claiming when it comes to transgender people is literally just repeating gender equals sex. It's not a substantive argument as to the validity of trans people based on the arguments that trans people or trans allies provide. It's literally just saying, well, you can believe what you want, but gender equals sex, so you're not valid. That's literally what it sums up to 99% of the time, which is not productive or good faith because they never want to actually interpret the arguments that people are providing around transgenderism existing in good faith because it goes against their worldview.
That's not true at all because your arguments are always predicated on the exception.
What exception?
The exception to social norms and just biological norms in general.
But why
It's
should we
always
have
the
to?
exception. Your
Why do we have to?
argumentation always revolves around I don't fit neatly within what other people consider to be a male or female. I
Wait, why
have
do we have to
other
conform? Why do we have to
ideas
conform to that? Why do we have to conform to what other
that
people
doesn't
decide
therefore
as male or
make you the
female?
opposite sex
Nobody's saying
or
that makes you the
gender
opposite sex. Those two claims are
or
completely
gender
separate. Those
or
two
gender.
or gender. I heard you the first time, dumbass. Those aren't the same claims.
Yes, they are. They are.
What two claims are the same? Repeat it back to me so we can
Gender and
hear it.
sex are the same
That
thing.
wasn't the claims. That wasn't the claims.
That's my claim.
That wasn't the two claims that you just said were the same thing. Repeat what two claims you just said were the same thing.
Gender and sex.
No, you're lying.
Okay.
Oh, the short-term memory is crazy. Saying, oh, well, gender equals sex as a response to people saying trans people are valid, which is a social argument denoting the difference between gender and sex, and saying, actually, you're just denying biology by making an argument that biology is separated from social identity. It's just like, it is insane to me that you think that you're disproving my claim with that.
And you can't follow the logic that everything that you're describing is another form of religious thinking.
You're just describing it as religious thinking when there's no spiritual claims being made. To believe in trans people does
There
not
doesn't
mean.
need to be a spiritual claim in a religion.
Okay, not always, but what? How are you defining religion specifically as it applies to this? Are you just saying people follow it?
The ideology prescribed.
Great. Is every political identity a religion?
No.
Why? People follow it as it's
Simple.
prescribed.
Simple. They have other belief systems.
Great. I don't just believe in trans people. I believe in plenty of people. What do you mean? I have plenty of other belief systems.
I'm sure you do.
Got me. Do you have
When
an
it comes to
argument to provide?
religion, when it comes to the religious aspect,
Y'all, I said I wasn't going to waste my time with people who can't follow the debate. I'm not wasting my time. I'm not wasting my time. I'm not wasting my time. No, no, no. No, thank you. Y'all, I'm not wasting my time. I don't know who that is. I can't follow. Bitch, you were getting lost. You couldn't repeat what two, like, literal arguments you tried to compare. You tried to compare. God, what was he trying to compare? It was crazy. He was trying to compare, like, um, believing in trans people to religion or something. It was some weird fucking comparison, and they had nothing to do with each other, but they were directly following each other. And he said, "Oh, they're the same thing." And I'm like, "Wait, what did you just say were the same thing?" And he couldn't repeat it, and I couldn't repeat it because it was so shocking. I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Like I couldn't follow anything he was saying because he was just going one point to the other, to the other, to the other, as if they're all the same question. Like what? I would literally have to rewatch the fucking recap of the live to know what the fuck he was talking about because it was so nonsensical. I'm not wasting my time with that shit. Next. We have plenty of requests actually. Also notice how when I said parental rights around raising children trans, nobody said a single word about it. All of the opposition in the live, all the opposition in the comments, not a single person said anything about it, because it's contradictory to their only defense of pressuring children into their faith, which is parental rights. Right? Y'all clocked that? Y'all heard that? Did y'all see that? Right. Next, 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 next. All these trolls already scrolled. Hey, how are you?
Hello.
Hi, what do you disagree with? Or what point do you want to discuss?
Is it okay to like talk about the stuff that's going on in the chat too? Because I know you can see it too.
I'm sorry, I actually don't read chat much. I see like a little bit here and there, but
Oh,
mostly I'm
okay.
very invested on the conversation. But if you point out something in chat, I can respond to it if I disagree.
I think I'll just pick a topic. What would you say is the number one thing that you like think?
Which position I'm strongest in?
Yeah.
I would say my strongest claim is probably children not being. I would say one of the first two. More likely, children not being raised religious, but people can be so weaselly about it. So it's like the strength is only in if people engage in good faith.
Okay. Can I ask you why you think that? Like, why children shouldn't be raised religious?
Well, I have an inspiration for it, and then I have my reasoning for it. My reasoning. I'm sorry. Can you mute? You have a little bit of muffled like reverb when I talk.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
I'll go to.
Is that fine? Is that good?
Yeah, I think we're good now.
Okay.
I would make the argument that we should maximize religious autonomy or religious free thinking, and I think that pressuring a large portion of society to just accept the parents' religion is very contradictory to this free thinking mindset I want to promote, because I think that spiritual faith is something that is a radical belief that should be individually decided, especially if there are rules to follow attached to that belief. And I think that religion is unique in that instance to where your belief in a radical claim about reality requires a rule book for your entire life, majority of the time, in which you should have complete autonomy over choosing to follow those rules.
I see your point with the whole rule book thing, but it's just stuff that like helps us protect our soul and keep us like as good people. Like I know there's a lot of like
according to you, though,
shouldn't.
What if your child believes in a contradictory faith to where it's condemning them to hell in their like belief system?
Well, I also
how do you square that away?
Me as a Catholic woman, I would raise my kids to. Oh, I wouldn't like. Actually, yeah, I would. I would raise my kids Catholic, and I would hope that they would choose to be Catholic as well, because it's helped me in my life through a lot, especially like because I
What if it
used
doesn't
to.
help them the same? Like the religion my parents followed didn't serve me in the same way it served them. There were positives to the community, but the religious aspect was negative to me. So I'm sorry, but like people have different experiences with certain religions, and so they should have individual autonomy over what they want to believe in or follow. And I think that shouldn't be infringed upon by enforcing in a household that you follow a specific belief system. I think that's very controlling from parent to child.
I mean, I don't see how it could be so bad if it's something like good. Religion isn't a bad thing.
I didn't say it was bad. I said people have varying experiences with it and shouldn't be pressured to follow a rule book that they don't know the rules of before they are indoctrinated into that system. Right?
Well, there's no reason why you couldn't research it and learn about it.
That's not promoted by telling them to accept it as truth from infancy. That is not what is promoted.
That's why I would teach them about it. I'm not saying that.
Teach them about it being true, not teach them to question it or to disagree with it.
Have you ever read the Bible?
I read portions of it when I was very young, and I've heard a lot of
And what about it made you so against wanting to raise your kids with a religion?
I don't want to raise my kid atheist. Nice gotcha, though. Nice try.
Then how would you?
I would raise them secular, which is not telling them to be religious or non-religious. They can make the decision by limiting the amount of bias that would control that decision in their upbringing. by pursuing multiple belief systems if they want, by providing resources for different beliefs rather than just presenting a truth, which is your truth, from infancy.
Mm. So if your child wanted to become a Catholic, you would let them?
Yeah, of course. Because I don't want to control my child's mind in that way. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's extremely controlling as a parent.
But what if your child was like against LGBTQ? Well, not like hateful, but like didn't like,
I
you know,
think
like,
there are boundaries within every religion to what I can like agree with and tolerate. Like just like I'm sure if your child had a different belief in like the age of consent, there would be lines drawn. But typically, just like you're entitled to your religious faith, but I don't think it is moral or should be endorsed that you want harm to come to certain people, right?
yeah, I mean, you kind of didn't really answer my question though.
I feel like I did. I feel like you're saying, what if they disagree with LGBTQ people? And I'm saying you can be entitled to the belief system, but I can't endorse it after a certain point where it crosses the threshold of harm. Just like I'm sure you would have a threshold of harm if your child was endorsing certain beliefs that you disagreed with, even if you think they have the right to believe what they want. The great people, then you probably wouldn't. I wouldn't fucking talk
Mm-hmm.
to my kid if they believe that. I'm going to be honest.
Mm. Okay. Um, what about LGBTQ education is necessary? Why do you think that?
I think that we consider education necessary for every minority group to understand that the harm that has come to those groups, or to build awareness rather than to teach bigotry of those groups by limiting education about those groups. And it's also just relevant to existing in a society with people that are different than you. And I think that should be
Mm-hmm.
applied across the standard, like across everything, not just LGBTQ people.
But wouldn't that be kind of like like a forcing type of thing too? Well, not forcing, but like, you know what I mean?
I think certain aspects of like required education are necessary to be like
Mm,
functional adults. I think in some ways we do know what's best for people in society, but I also think that the public education system failed people in teaching extremely biased perspectives in order to control the public narrative about certain groups or history.
mm-hmm.
So I think that like it can be reformed, but like I think it should be good in education that is required, like how to fill out taxes, how to fill out a job application, like history. I
Yeah, I
think there are
agree
certain
with that
important things.
part of education. That stuff should be taught.
Yeah, for sure. I think most people agree that there are things that people should just know about society to have the best
Mm-hmm.
chance possible to succeed in it and have like equal treatment in it. And I think that LGBTQ education is integral to that. Like if you're learning about straight people in society, you should learn about gay people or about bisexual people because they also exist and their rights are literally voted on, and people's views
Mm-hmm.
about them are literally determined a lot of times by their upbringing or the opinion of them by their peers, which are often influenced by the amount of ignorance that they have towards that group, which is typically decided by lack of education.
Okay. I mean, yeah, that makes sense because of all the voting stuff now. But I don't know if it should be like a whole.
It's not going
Because
to be
the
its own
way,
class. It's just going to be
yeah,
like, it's just relevant to so many topics. If you're talking about
I feel like that would be
sociology,
under like
right?
history. Like they
Well,
could like just
no, not just
mention.
history. Not just history. I think if
Well,
most
not
people actually
yeah.
look at, if most people look at the curriculum, they'll agree with a lot of it actually. If you're in a family tree, you're learning about the family tree. If somebody in the classroom has two dads, do you think that you should just like hide that person in another room while the other people fill out their family trees? Like, what do you want to happen there? When you're learning about like romance, you're learning about princes and princesses. A lot of people would also be okay with princes and princes in a textbook or like in a like a literature book to be read to a class or something, and they'd be fine with people picking up that book if they wanted. Like most,
Mm-hmm.
like a lot of people are fine with that, but they're still against LGBT education because they're against the idea of it rather than the actual implementation of it.
Like they're scared of it happening to their own kid.
They're scared of possible influence that they fearmonger about, or about demonizing the community as a whole to basically substitute their deep hatred for that group. A lot of people hide behind certain platitudes to hide the fact that they just are grossed out by our community. It's
Mm.
as long as we've progressed, it's still a thing.
Yeah, it's just I don't want like I want my kids to grow up religious so that way they know how to be saved. Also, because that's my belief.
Can't you teach them at a later age, among other information, if you truly have faith that your belief will reach them? Or do you think that they need to be pressured into the faith in order to have a good chance?
Well, I feel like it's different because the way you see it as something like that's just being forced upon because they might not want that path. But the way I was raised and how I see it and how I see the outcome of it happening with people that I know that are the same, it's like it's something super good. And just the way, because of different opinions and how people are, I feel like that's why people see it as like such a bad thing when it really isn't.
Well, I can't deny that a lot of people view religion negatively because of its public perception based on a lot of its own actions. We have to be honest, like Crusades, Western expansion,
Mm.
colonization, there were a lot of very harmful aspects of a lot of religions, including the subjugation of women in a lot of them, and gay people and
Mm-hmm.
other groups. But my argument isn't contingent on people's opinions. It's on a moral claim of freedom of expression of faith, which is limited by the manipulation of faith at younger ages in households.
It's not about manipulation or pressure. It's about salvation at an early age.
But you're saying you need to pressure them into the faith so that their soul is saved. Otherwise, why raise them in it?
I'm not pressuring them though,
Then why raise them in it at all?
because I know that it's a good thing to have for yourself, and I know the truth already.
Good because it saves their soul, aka you're pressuring them into that because it's good for them, aka
Mm-hmm.
according to your religious faith.
Well,
So you're
yeah. Well,
saying,
wouldn't
well,
you want that
actually,
for
it's
your
okay to.
child?
Yeah, you can say that. But there are things that are demonstrable that are good for children, and there are things that are faith driven. And if it's faith driven, you should probably give a lot more freedom because you're deciding other people's beliefs for them by saying, well, you're subject to the rules of my faith.
But why would I want my child to believe in a incorrect faith when I know which one is the correct one?
I also believe Christianity is incorrect, but I'm fine with my kid being Christian because I'm not controlling.
But why would you want your kid to jump like into lava and not like
I can see a lot of
like
harm in religion. I can see a lot of harm in religion, but I think it's people's right to pursue religion if they want, aka they can jump into that lava if they want. I think there's a lot of manipulation and harm in a lot of religious teachings or practices or groups in especially America, which is extremely Christian nationalist. But I still want them to have the freedom to pursue certain beliefs because I know that I don't want that level of control over them because they're their own person. Just like I'm my own person and I can follow any religion I want, majoritarily because I'm not under a rule of a Christian household anymore.
okay, that makes sense, I guess.
Great. Is there another topic you wanted to discuss?
No, not really, because the first one, I don't even know why that's kind of there.
Do you disagree with it though?
No.
Okay.
I feel like anyone can pay. I don't know why.
Well,
Some
no,
of
there's a
it's
lot
always
of
like
sprinkle women who say they're not going to go for any men if they don't pay for the first date. You know that,
Yeah.
right? There's a lot of women who still have this societal expectation that men are going to be the ones providing in the relationships. They want to pick and choose traditionalism.
I feel like that's like an older millennial / like older generation type of thing. I feel like the
I
younger
think it's all
generation
over
is kind of
social media.
different.
I think it's all over social media, and there are plenty of sprinkle women who still want that and use it as a method of empowerment to
But also
only
that's
get
how
with rich
those kids
men.
were raised too. Like the man should be the provider and all that stuff. So I mean
Yeah,
that's
that's proving
different.
my
The first day
point
I
that
went
they
on with
pick
my
and choose
boyfriend,
traditionalism.
we
They were
paid for like
raised
what
under
we ate.
traditionalism.
Yeah. I don't know. That one's not like it kind of just depends. Whoever's asking should be the one to pay.
I mean, yeah, but that's also going against the people who are opposition to the first prompt because their argument is that it's traditionalism is the rule, so that's why it's justified to have a societal standard when it comes to dating. That men pay on the first date because they're the providers. That's the expectation. So if you disagree with that expectation, just like me, you're on my side.
Wait, what?
If you disagree with the societal expectation that men should be the ones paying on first date, then you're on my side, which is disagreeing with that traditionalist expectation, which a lot of women choose and then don't want to choose the rest that comes with that traditionalist expectation, which is also women taking a backseat in relationships and letting the men lead because they're men, not because they're qualified.
I don't really know about that one. That's just like a whole different thing.
Okay.
I think
Well, that's as far as
I
we're
don't really
going to
know
go
what
with
else
it.
to say.
Thanks for coming up.
Yeah, you should let
No. Yeah, I'm good. Whoever that was going to be, I'm good. Cheyenne was being respectful in the comments. Let's try this.
Be quiet. Hello? Oh, I was telling my kids
I
to be
thought you were
quiet,
talking to
not
me.
you.
You said be quiet.
Sorry. No, I have 2 older kids playing Fortnite. I told them to be quiet.
As you should.
Yes, as I should.
Get them a posture corrector now. You can never start too early.
No, they're posture correcting, trust me. I'm always like, keep that back straight. Keep that back straight, girl.
Balance those books on those heads.
Right? I feel that.
Exactly.
That's funny.
So, you disagree with the topic?
I mean, it's a hit or miss, I guess you could say.
Sure, you can just disagree with whatever you want and just give me your justification
I
for it.
could hit on every one of them, especially the last one that you were talking about at the end. With men shouldn't have to pay for the first date. You said if they aren't gonna if a girl feels like the man should pay for the first date, there's things that come with it.
Well, the whole point is that argument of men paying for the first date is a traditionalist expectation, which is proven through men being providers in relationships. That's like the justification for that societal standard.
For sure.
And women want to choose that part of that societal standard, but then
not
disregard
uphold
all of the other traditionalist expectations that go with it.
Exactly. I understand that. I thought that was funny when you said that. No, I do agree with that men, or I disagree with that. I think men should pay. Okay, but I'm a traditionalist. Okay, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I homeschool my kids. My man does the hard stuff, and I do hard stuff too, but I'm the homemaker. So
I think I feel like you're not like the demographic of people I'm looking for in response to that comment, because most people I'm talking to are people who are hypocritical about. The people I'm looking for are people who are hypocritical about it, where they're like, well, I want this traditionalist expectation of men paying, but I don't want the rest. That's typically what I'm talking about. If you're a traditionalist, you can be a traditionalist. I think that it's a little limiting to women's free agency in relationships and sets an expectation of a ruler and a follower, which I think is inherently toxic. But you're entitled to follow that if you understand that going into it.
Yeah, all about communication, right?
Yeah, all about communication. And as long as you feel free, that's great. It is a roll of the dice these days when it comes to guys that are looking for traditionalism. You have to question the motives, right?
It really is. That's funny. Yeah, it really is. Okay. The children shouldn't be raised religious.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I feel like religious and relationships are 2 different things, right? Like when we're talking about
still faith.
Most people are talking about I'll say the majority in America, like a relationship with God, but most people call it religion.
But I'm against atheists being taught too, so that's also not teaching about a God or a religion specifically, right?
For sure, but when we talk about religious, I feel like atheists are out of that, aren't they? Because they're not religious. They believe it's the absence of everything.
Yeah,
right?
but it depends how you view atheism. I'm talking specifically about anti-theism, where they're saying God doesn't exist. That is their claim, that God doesn't exist. I don't think that should be taught, because it sways people away from religion to where I want an unbiased perspective to where you can pursue belief or non-belief, whatever you desire.
Okay, so I'll just say my little one cent on this, yeah? So when I think of religion or religious, I really don't think of that. I think of relationship versus religiousness, which is going to come into
I'm against both. That was in my claim.
Okay, but hold on. It's going to come into both with that and the education theory of your LGBTQ. It's going to kind of
It's
do
not
like a.
comparable because I'm for the education of both LGBTQ topics and religion. I'm against indoctrination into either.
Do you maybe just have a little bit of grace to hear me on this?
I do. I just don't want you misrepresenting them and painting them as the same argument.
I definitely am not, I promise.
Okay.
So I am a Christian, okay? And I'm very big on not being religious, but having a relationship with Christ. And I've taught my kids across the board to love everybody, period, the end. You, doesn't matter age, sex, freaking color, religion.
No
It does not
offense,
matter
that
to
doesn't
me.
respond to anything. This
Okay,
isn't
well, hold
about
on.
being racist or bigoted
No,
toward gay
no,
people.
wait, can
This is
you let
about
me?
indoctrination.
Okay, for sure. But I don't indoctrinate my kids, is what I'm trying to get to. Is I love God and I love Christ, but he also says to love everybody, which is how I teach my kids to love. Okay.
Loving
So
everybody doesn't negate indoctrination. I don't feel like you're addressing it directly. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to
I'm
cut you
trying to
off.
talk. I'm trying to talk, but you're really not letting me get very
But I'm
far.
explaining how your words are not productive because they're not responding. You're saying
How
that
do
I'm
you?
teaching
Okay,
my
so
kids to
I'm
be
gonna ask you,
nice.
like,
You're
how do
not
you
saying I'm
want
not
me to respond
indoctrinating
then?
them
Because
to
I'm
believe in
trying to
God.
talk and you're not letting me because I don't. I mean, I'm a Christian,
I'm
but I
sorry, it's
don't.
rambling that isn't productive. It's not on the topic. You're saying I'm teaching my kids to be nice. You're still teaching them to believe in
That's
a
not.
God.
That is that against the rules?
That is indoctrination into a faith-based belief. Yes, which is what I'm saying is immoral.
For you and not for me.
Then you can address the morality of it rather than addressing whether you're being nice as a parent or not. I respect that, Riley. She has kids. I'm giving her a lot of grace when it comes to time. But y'all, I have to cut them off if they're being unproductive. There's no way I would just let her yap forever about, well, I'm teaching my kids to not be racist. I'm teaching them to be nice towards other people. I'm teaching them to have like respect for other people and to like be in other people's shoes. None of which has anything to do with whether you're influencing them to believe in a faith, which is the claim. You shouldn't, which I've explained multiple times, you should not be pressuring children to believe in faith-based claims around spirituality because you want them to believe the same thing as you, which is religious indoctrination, aka raising your children religious. I'm sure she had to tend to her kids. They were playing Fortnite or whatever. She didn't seem malicious. She just seemed a little not fleshed out on these topics. The engagement level seemed very surface level. Y'all, I think I got time for one more guest. This person was asking before. Sorry if you didn't get to join tonight. You can join another night, but this is the last guest of the night because I want to go watch shows, which I'm not going to say which show because y'all will fucking spoil it. Riley, are you opposition? What point do you disagree with? Also, while they're loading in, let me go to the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back. Oh, they didn't join. Okay, Bradley's last request. Hey, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Good. What topic did you want to discuss?
So, about the point of religion, I do hear your point of how it's like you can't force it on anybody, and I agree. Like, you shouldn't be able to force your religion or like another
Well, it's
religion
not
on
specifically
anybody.
force, it's pressure, because most people don't force, most people pressure.
Yes, okay, I agree with that. And one part is, so I was raised religious, not in a completely like hardcore religious household. Like, my mom has always told me that if I want to believe something different, I'm always able to, and like she will be supportive of it. But I do think having it brought up as a topic, especially if like my parents like raised, or like my mom, she raised me as a Christian, and I have always been a Christian. But it's also like, I feel like even if I didn't have that support of being a Christian, like in my household, I still would have probably brought to myself, like been brought up that way, if that makes sense.
Well, you'd have like information that it exists, but it doesn't
Yes.
mean that you're going to feel as pressure to follow
Yes.
that.
And I feel like the fact that I was able to have like some knowledge of it, it made me want to learn about it more. And
But
I, as
nobody's saying you can have
myself,
zero, you should have zero knowledge. I think you should have a basic knowledge around all majority religions growing up to widen your perspective on what beliefs you could possibly pursue. The whole point about religious upbringing is not to widen your perspective on what beliefs you can pursue. It's telling you what belief to pursue.
okay. And it's like how you said that LGBTQ and all that, it's education is necessary, especially like in this time like of the world we do live in. Like, if you're ignorant about it, then that's just kind of stupid. Like, how do you not know about it? But one thing is that some people, and I am not transphobic whatsoever, but in the same way how you said that it could be pressured onto you, certain households could be pressured to be like, oh, well, if you're this way, then you're horrible. If you're this way, then you're horrible. Like, there are certain households where they are taught that being religious or Christian is bad, and then being not like
And
out
I
of
would
the
disagree with
norm.
that as well. I would disagree with that as well. I don't think you should be teaching that being religious is bad at younger ages. That's heavily biasing them against religiosity, which I would go against my claim.
Okay. But it's just some things about the LGBTQ education that is happening, it's getting too much to where it is being forced on certain people. Like, okay, like how certain things I don't necessarily agree with, but I would never say it out loud to, not that I wouldn't say it out loud to a person, it's just I believe that everybody, especially we live in America,
Just
like
say trans
everybody.
women aren't women. Like, you don't have to dance around it this much.
Okay, I didn't say that. I don't agree with it, okay? I'm not gonna be rude about it. I don't agree with that thinking, okay? It's just my personal beliefs, but I would never hate on somebody for believing that. But with me, and if I was to ever say that on public, I would be hated on for having an opinion of my own when I was never trying to hurt anybody.
It's invalidating their existence. No offense, but if people are making social arguments to their existence and you're saying that's not valid, how are they supposed to perceive that other than an erasure of their like validity in society? Any
I
religion would take that extremely personally. Any minority group would take that extremely personally. If I'm just like, I'm gay, I like men, and people in society are like, no, you don't. That's not real. You're just straight. Like, no. You're just confused. How am I supposed to
I
take that to where it wouldn't be seen as an extremely invalidating?
I do get your argument, and it's like I've never said that I don't believe that people can't be gay or not. I believe that that is something that you can't really control. I 100% agree with that.
It was a
But
comparison. I wasn't using that as like the argument.
I know, I agree with you, and I understand what you're like. That is
But you're
the
only
argument you're
validating
using.
gay people to try to get like moral points so that you invalidating trans people doesn't sound as bad. Like
That's
I'm
not what I'm
sorry.
doing. I'm saying that I do agree that people can be gay, but I just don't agree with. I think that it is somewhat of a mental illness, and then forcing it on children to learn
Mental
about that.
illness isn't an opinion. I'm sorry, but there are guidelines to something classifying as a mental illness, and being trans doesn't make the cut. What you're referencing is gender dysphoria, which is in the DSM-5 as a mental disorder or illness, which is cured through gender affirmation, not calling it a mental illness or invalidating it.
Okay, but some things are forced onto kids at that younger age, especially, okay, when I was younger, I was a more tomboy appearance. Like, I dressed like a boy, I acted like a boy. Doesn't mean that I had somebody in my ear telling me, oh, do you want to be a boy? Because sometimes when you're at that age, it's like, you can't think 100%.
Guess
like,
what? Everyone
correctly. If
around
your
me told
frontal
me
lobe
to.
isn't
Everyone around me
developed.
told me to be straight. Did it make me straight?
I'm not saying
Everyone
that it's
around me told me to
automatically
act
going
like a
to.
man. Did it make me masculine?
Okay.
No, I'm sorry, but you can be a product of your environment, and there are some things you just can't fucking change. We're arguing that your gender identity is predisposed. That you're predisposed to have an internal sense of self that's going to be different than your external self. Like, I'm sorry, it's predisposed, and you can either fit into that or not fit into that.
I don't know. I just believe that when you're at that, especially, I just don't think it should be easily accessible for somebody to make that big
That's
of a
not your
life
claim.
change.
That's not your claim.
But it is. People should not be
Your
able to
claim
make
is that they're not real.
Okay. I never said they're not real. I believe that they are real people, but it's just that they
That's
aren't.
not the claim. They aren't real. Do you think Jewish people exist, or do you think that Judaism is inaccurate and not a true claim?
Jewish people do exist. It's a religion that people have. Here's the thing. People have a right to think that
Is
trans
Judaism
is
accurate?
whatever. You're cutting me off, and I gave your whole thing to speak, and you should give me my chance to speak also.
Go ahead, speak your platitudes, diva.
Okay. I agree with a lot of your points of that people should people should be able to think what they want to think. But it's like, that's the thing. If people want to think that they're trans and think that that's a thing, then they can think that. It's fine to think it. But it's like, if I believe that, okay, well, I don't agree with it, I'm allowed to have that opinion. It's all an opinion. Like, you want to believe you're a man.
You're literally just repeating yourself. You're saying I'm cutting you off, but you're literally just saying the same thing over and over again, which I've already responded to.
Okay, but you just completely diminished what I said.
And you diminished by what I said by not responding to it and just repeating the same point as if it responds to it over and over again. I said, of course, minority groups' existence being invalidated by people saying their existence is an opinion would be extremely hurtful and demonizing towards that group in society. You saying but people are entitled to their beliefs doesn't make that okay. People can be entitled to their beliefs about race realism. Does that make it an okay belief? People can be entitled to their beliefs about white replacement theory or about fear-mongering about immigrant people. Does it make it accurate or right? No. We're arguing that your claims are inaccurate. You can argue that our claims are inaccurate, which is going to be proven in society by evidence or the amount of evidence you have to back up your claims, not by whether you're entitled to belief or not. Like, nobody's saying you can't be entitled to believe. People are entitled to believe in aliens. People are entitled to believe in all kinds of shit that I don't believe in. Doesn't mean I have to validate their beliefs in society, right? Just like
I agree.
You don't need to validate
I have to validate their beliefs that they, and also,
who's saying you have to validate their beliefs that they're trans?
Okay. But it's just some things. Okay, here's the thing. I couldn't care less of what people do on their own time, but when it comes to affect me, that's when I start it. Because I don't agree.
How is it affecting you in any way?
It affects me in the fact that I am a woman who plays sports, who has always played sports. And when there is a man that I'm going up against that could easily hurt me, because it is true.
You're just expressing your beliefs by calling trans women men, not just by disagreeing, by attacking them based on you viewing them as
biological men. Oh, fine.
Biological men isn't an accurate statement. Biological males, which is just repeating male, essentially, is just claiming that sex exists, which nobody disagrees with. So you can just say males.
Okay.
Right?
Fine. Playing against males in high school, when I was in high school, it's hard to do that. So it's like, how am I supposed to do that when it's a person who is automatically, biologically has an advantage of me? I'm sure you've heard all about Riley Gaines and how she instantly got beat by the person who, it was like, she did something about swimming. I don't remember exactly what thing in it. So it's like, I don't know how to describe it, but basically, do you know who Riley
the
Gaines
person's
is?
who performance transitioning from a man to a woman societally, whose performance worsened with estrogen
Yes,
over
but
time,
that person was at the
over
lowest
time.
when they identified as a man, but then when they identified as a woman and did some of those medical things, they were the top of the woman's category.
Guess what? Before their estrogen injections lowered their performance results, they were at the top of their, like, the brackets before the transition started.
They were at the lowest.
So they were talented, and then their estrogen caused them to fall in placement with, guess what? Men. And then when they transitioned to a woman and they were at the same level as women, they were still a top competer. Remember, top competer with men, top competer with women, but men have a biological advantage, which worsened their score with transition. Right?
Just because they transition some things about them, they still have their structure, their bodily structure, the bones, their muscle mass. That didn't all just instantly get changed.
Nobody argues it all changes. We're arguing it's to an extent in which it makes it fair to compete at the same level, where everybody doesn't have the same bone density, where everyone doesn't have the same height, where everyone doesn't have the same things about them, right? We're arguing it is in a measurable amount of fairness that is accepted. So you can have guidelines by saying, well, women should only have this amount of bone density to be able to compete in this sport. Women should only have this amount of muscle density to compete in the sport. There's certain amount of height. There's certain amount of wingspan. There's certain amount of whatever the fuck you want to regulate sports with. Create those criteria, and if you don't fit it, you don't fit it. And I think that would be fair. But women that are not trans will be excluded due to those guidelines being put in place.
I think that it is obvious, it's completely fine with what somebody does with themselves until it starts affecting the lives of others.
Great. So you're just going to repeat your initial talking points rather than responding to shit. You're not. I hate to break it to you, Riley. You've said platitudes over and over again, and you said your initial talking points over and over again. You have not given any substantive answer.
Did you ask me a question?
I mean, I made a lot of arguments that you could respond to, and then you chose to say the exact same thing you said before I made any of the points that I just made.
Okay.
Right? You did choose to repeat yourself.
Yes, because my point made sense. I'm sorry you don't want to see that.
Okay, Diva. Not my fault. Your ears are broken. You were begging to come up. You were asking so many times to have a respectful discussion, come up. Just I just want to talk. I agree with you on a lot of things. I don't agree with you on a lot of things. And you try to act middle of the road. You try to act respectful. But at the end of the day, you just said, I don't believe in trans people. I think it's a mental illness. And trans women are taking over women's spaces and they're attacking me because I'm in sports and I don't believe in trans women. I hate to break it to you. Your rhetoric is so basic, it's concerning. Your rhetoric is a bottle blonde. I hate to break it to you. I hate to be the person to deliver this gut-wrenching news to your desk. But your rhetoric is so basic, Fox News wouldn't repeat it. I'm sorry, it's so basic and so non-responsive to any argument provided to you. It's insane. Oh, look at somebody spamming a gotcha question. I'll respond to it because y'all are the ones scared to respond to questions or claims, not me. If Trump said he was trans, then would you consider him as the first woman as president? Guess what? You can have a reasonable amount of doubt if somebody suddenly identifies as trans and then weaponizes that to gain validity. in society or in a certain instance, right? Like if somebody transitions right before going to jail because they want to go into a place where they can assault people, then you can question that. I'm sorry, I hate to be the one to tell you, you can question that. Or if you don't want to question certain people coming out as trans suddenly to gain social validity or certain benefits and situations, that's why there's therapy. That's why there's waiting periods to where you can reserve certain judgments, right? Because transition isn't something that happens in a day. Social transition could just be changing your clothes or your name or your pronouns. But when it comes to people who, no offense, take their transition seriously, it's not something that just happens overnight. Most people believe that like trans identity, something that's like has an element of predisposition of like you didn't just become trans one day, you are trans, right? But what if he was doing it seriously? I doubt a lot of people who say they're doing things seriously. He made a lot of claims in his in his running to be president that he didn't follow through with. I think you can have a level of doubt, especially somebody who says Kamala is for they, them, I'm for you. Sorry if I don't take his trans identity as fact from day one if he suddenly switched up and was trans. I would need substantial evidence because it contradicts his past behavior and stances. Just like all these people that go on these TikTok lives to do that gotcha of, oh, I'm a woman, respect my pronouns and shit, when they're clearly conservative men trying to troll about people accepting identity as women. I need y'all to stop buying into that shit because I guarantee you 20 progressives go on that live and say, yeah, you're a woman. Yay, believe identity. Sorry, y'all, we gotta have a higher standard. We gotta have a higher standard than a grifting conservative. We have to have a standard below zero for automatically believing people when it comes to that. You can say believe as in you can reserve judgment, but it doesn't mean I'm going to confirm your identity from day one. Sorry. Depending on how much I know you or how much faith I have in what you're providing to me. Sorry. Not going to happen. I think it's a very logical position. Like if I don't know you, then sure, I can use your pronouns. Just like if I don't know somebody's beliefs in like a religion, they can come up to me and say like, oh, I'm Christian. I'll be like, okay, cool, Christian. Like, cool. But if they have a past pattern of behavior of being like devotedly anti-religious and like hating religion or hating Christianity specifically, and then they one day come out as Christian, I'm like, I think I'm going to reserve some judgment. I think I'm going to say the fruits of your labor, bitch. I'm not going to believe you on day one, but I can reserve judgment and say I believe you, whatever, depending on how genuine you sound. But yeah, no, I'm reserving judgment 100%. And if it's a grifting conservative, I might just call you a liar to your face. Sorry. And then you can prove me wrong. La 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 la. Who's trying to DM you? Why the fuck are y'all trying to DM my moderators? Is it because you got muted? Is it that one guy that got muted after he was trying to demand that I take his argument of religious upbringing and any moral worldview being proposed to you is exactly the same? That's the person who probably DM'd you. If it's him, 100% you can block him. Also, You're not my employee. You can block whoever you want. And if it's somebody in the live that's DMing you to get like attention or to get up in the live, it was 6, 7. Yeah, no, not interested anyways. But y'all, I said that was gonna be the last request. The other one was just asking what your name was. Like my government name or my live name. I go by Ophi on here, but y'all, if you didn't get to join tonight, you can join another night. Thank you to the people that are being respectful and to the people who are being bad faith. I know you're upset that you were kicked, but I'm not engaging in bad faith argumentation because I'm not dumb like you. Okay, bye. Have a good night.
Away from that.